If you've watched any of the Olympics, you know that China has made an Olympian-sized effort to ensure these summer games are successful, from the lavish opening ceremonies to the breathtaking venues. But arguably their greatest challenge has been trying to improve the air quality in Beijing. A study by the World Bank in 2004 rated Beijing as one of the 15 most air-polluted big cities in the world. To help clean the air, Chinese officials moved a lot of heavy industry out of town in the last few years. And then starting about 3 weeks ago, half of Beijing's 3 million cars were banned from driving each day. Here's a look at daily air quality in Beijing since those restrictions went into place. This is just for particle pollution. It doesn't include ozone, which is the major summer pollutant in the U.S., but ozone isn't tracked in China. Now, to put these numbers in perspective, here are the World Health Organization's standards for this pollutant. And notice that about a third of the days don't meet the least stringent standard, and very few meet the most stringent, despite the traffic restrictions. And that's because most of Beijing's pollution isn't produced locally. It comes from hundreds of miles away. You see, about 20 of the 30 most polluted cities in the world are in China, many of them south of Beijing. And when the wind blows from the south, Beijing's air quality deteriorates. So the weather is a huge factor. Now here's an example. This was the map on August 2nd. This was a good air quality day. A cold front had just gone through Beijing. Winds were northerly. A clean air mass had just come in from Mongolia, sort of like a Canadian air mass coming into the northeast U.S. in summer. But 2 days later, that high had moved off the coast, winds turned southerly, and polluted air headed back north into Beijing, where mountains ring the city on both the north and the west. So once the pollution gets in, it doesn't leave unless the winds switch or it rains. Now here's the view at the ground on those days. This is the Beijing skyline on August 2nd, the good air quality day. Now here's the same view 2 days later, once southerly winds had kicked in. Some Olympic officials have claimed this is mostly fog, just water in the air and not pollution, but that's just not true. Yes, it is very humid in Beijing, but fog would dissipate as the sun rose higher in the sky during the day, and Beijing's murky skies don't behave like that. The pollution that frequently covers eastern China can often be seen from space. Here's a vivid example from earlier this year. Health experts don't expect athletes and visitors to experience any long-term effects from their trips to Beijing, but no one's sure about the negative effects on athletic performance. Ethiopian Haile Gebrselassie, who's run the 2 fastest marathons in history, has already decided not to run the marathon in Beijing because he has asthma. And at least 20 national teams are doing their pre-Olympic training in Japan, Korea, or Hong Kong, waiting until the very last minute to head to Beijing, where Olympic track and field starts on Friday. Fred will be back with the extended forecast next.